In the world of sales, should you record your sales process? This is an important question. I'm Scott Silverbaum. I'm coming to you live for HVAC Technician Sales Secrets on a perfect day to talk about sales and a perfect day to talk about you. Now, here's the thing. As of today, I have roughly 2,700 YouTube videos, and I want to say 2,600 of them are all about sales. And the reason why this is important is I have this belief, I have this philosophy that you, me, as an individual, should record our sales process. And I've been talking about this probably for about 10 years now, but I've augmented it and added some reason why and some ways to make things better for you. So let's say today I am crushing it. I am doing fantastic. I don't care the objection. You tell me that your money's on the moon, I figure out a way to sell it. You tell me that we got to convert diamonds into money, I find a way to sell it. You tell me there's no way to pay for it, and we find a way to sell it. That is the time of your life where you really want to make sure that you have a recording of your sales process. And here is why. You take your sales process, you take that recording, you put that recording into something like rev.com or Otter.ai, and then you build out a checklist, okay? Because at some point, you're gonna circle around and sales aren't gonna be going so well. Sales, they're like, no matter what you do, you can't give it away for free. And you're sitting there thinking like, what do I do? How do I make this step? How do I close these deals? This is why you should join HVACTechSecrets.com, because I'll give you the goods not on the Facebook group or in the YouTube channel, okay? So you take this checklist that you have and you record when you're doing very well, and then you record when you're doing poorly. And here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna find that there's probably 3, 4, or 5 key elements of your sales processes that you're not performing. And you go, hey Scott, how do I record my sales process? I'm glad you asked. So here's what you do. Depending upon the state that you're in, I am not a legal attorney, I'm not a marriage counselor, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a therapist. So I gotta give you my legal disclaimer. Check the state that you're in and see if you could do a recording. And if you can't, ask the person that you're meeting with. Say, hey, look, I'm taking my process and I'm trying to count how many ums and ahs that I have and do this too. And I'm trying to look at how many filler words that I do. Is it all right if I record this presentation? And you're gonna have people say yes, you got people who say no. But if you're on fire, you're gonna have some amazing conviction and the person's gonna say, yes, absolutely, you could do that because my money's on the moon and you're gonna sell me something and we're gonna make it fantastic. And if you're in the bottom of a sales slump, the chances are good because they're gonna say, this salesperson is struggling, I really wanna do what I can to help them out. So you take your notes, you take your conversation and you build a checklist, and it's gonna take you some time to do this, but that's why you're here. Not everybody's willing to take the time to learn. Then you take your bad sales call and you build out your checklist, and you're going to notice you're missing about 40% of your sales presentation. You talked about yourself a lot, you talked about your problems, you spent a ton of time building rapport, but what you didn't get to was the end of the sales process to ask for the sale. That's pretty much what I see. You're gonna probably replicate this, I hope that you do, and you're gonna find the same results. So you're like, hey Scott, well, what else can I do with this? Once you have this template, then you could sit down and when somebody says, hey, I really need some sales training, I really need some help. You could take your template and say, here's all the things that I do, come ride with me, come watch me, and take notes on a tablet. Just check off everything that I do, or just tick it off on a box. And this is the way that somebody gets training wheels to train through a sales process. You take them on good sales calls. You take them on bad sales calls. You take them and say, hey, what did I do right? What could I improve on? And so instead of it being a million things when you're going wrong, 3. What are the 3 things that I can improve? And I'm gonna tell you, hey, I noticed that you didn't set an agenda. I noticed that you didn't really explain the features and the benefits of the product. And I noticed that you spent a ton of time building rapport, talking about puppies. When you're doing on good, like, what are the 3 things that I did right? Here's the 3 things that you did right. Just know that as you go through this process, it may hurt your feelings because you're like, I didn't realize that I was doing that, but it's a faster way for you to learn than trying to figure it out on your own. Figuring out on your own will probably take you about 2 to 6 weeks. Figuring out with a checklist will help you figure it out in a weekend. So if you really want to get good at sales, you're going to have to do the things that nobody else wants to do. That's record their sales process, turn it into a checklist when they're doing good, when they're doing bad, they can figure out what's going on. There you go. You got this. We'll see you soon.